This show is unique because we're give you a genuine, authentic, courageous Christ consciousness depiction of what Christ was really all about. His greatest passion was reserved to fighting the money lenders. So it's important. I'm getting used to the technology here a little bit with how to produce one of these where it's a live stream. I'm doing this live right now, so there's hopefully no edits or anything, and this is going to be a new initiative that I do once a week, a Sunday sermon, but from a genuine Christian perspective of the prophets. Jesus came to the earth in order to enforce Mosaic law, which is just natural law, which on the economic level, which is the most important thing. That's the thing that affects all of us, because when mammon, or the money power, or the den of thieves is able to monopolize the money system, they're able to have full spectrum dominance over humanity and wage war on humanity. Meanwhile, our church leaders are silent on this, and this is what Jesus was the most passionate about. So as Christians, we should be the most passionate about this same topic. So my name is Wayne Walton. I'm a usury-free monetary reform activist and jubilist, as Jesus was. Jesus in his first gospel declared debt forgiveness jubilee from Isaiah 61. Jubilee law is the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath, period. Remember the Sabbath. Remember Jubilee and keep it holy. They perverted that and made it into a single day. Well, going to church once a week doesn't protect Christians from the bankers, but debt forgiveness Jubilee, the Jubilee has 4 aspects. Let me go through them really quickly. Number 1, our debts are forgiven. Number 2, all land is returned to the people living, the natives on the land. It's our birthright. So we've been turned into renters, we human beings have. Even when our house is paid off, we still do not have peace of mind. And as property values go up, so do the property taxes, and people, particularly the elderly, are vulnerable to losing their property. And we can build a better system and finance social programs without coercion, and that's what the usury-free monetary system does. We want to invite everybody in from the left and the right. We can protect the non-aggression principle of the right, thou shalt not steal. Governments, corporations, individuals, anybody stealing is wrong by anybody. Additionally, in the meantime, we believe in one love, so we have to make sure that we provide a common bond, an oath that we support everyone and have a social safety net. Additionally, for instance, my brother's retired Navy, and we have a commitment to him and everybody that paid into Social Security. So we need to find a way, which we can do, to finance these programs. We can birth brand new our money in order to finance these social programs. So that's our unique selling proposition with this broadcast, is it's genuine, authentic. Jesus fought the bankers. Here's my t-shirt. Check it out, JesusHatesUsury.com. Check that out. Buy a t-shirt, support the cause. Support what Jesus cared about, what he got angry about. I don't go to church, or I rarely do, but I've just recently come to God in the last 4 or 5 years after waking up to the deceptions of the world. And what I would like to go to church, but when I go, they only preach about Jesus as love and compassion. And when they talk about sin, it's always the focus on our own sins, and they never talk about the sins of the establishment, which makes it impossible for the people to have abundance. The system is based upon usury, and when I say usury, I mean that in a broad sense of money monopoly, uh, or mammon. It's a malevolent money power. The usurers. Well, the usurers have usurped all of our institutions, including the church, including the government, everything. So they're using this money power in order to war on humanity. And that's why there's such scarcity. And what I dislike about the church is they never talk about this when you go, and they do great things. They do works where they'll help the homeless, they'll feed the hungry, but they never go to the root cause of it. So they're always fighting symptoms, and they never get to the root cause. And there's a quote by Henry David Thoreau that goes, for every 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil, there is one, this guy, who fights the root, and this guy. Because when you focus on the money, whenever there's a crime, well, homelessness is a crime when it's so widespread. Well, why is there homelessness? Follow the money. When you follow the money, you'll find out that it's impossible, with interest applied to money, it's impossible for everybody to pay off their debt. All the money's invented as a debt with interest, and for instance, if we borrowed $1 million of gold, even at 1%, if we only have $1 million, if the money lenders lend us $1 million, how do we pay them back the 1%? So we give them the $1 million back, but we still owe them $10,000 in gold. You can't. So we end up defaulting. We end up giving mammon our collateral. We lose our land, and slowly over time, usury is a land confiscation scheme. Over time, the usurers will eventually claim all of the land, and that's when Jesus said, "You've turned my Father's temple into a den of thieves." Well, the temple is planet Earth. Jesus speaks in metaphors all the time. So when you talk about, he wasn't like a mall cop that just was protecting the temple. Jesus wasn't working on the small temple and just making sure there's no market there. He fights the big things. The biggest problem, the biggest perpetrator of violence on planet Earth is mammon. Mammon finances both sides of war and wages war on all humanity. It divides and conquers us till we're communists, capitalists, fascists, divides us into a whole bunch of camps, Democrat, Republican, so that we all wage war upon each other. So that's the way a tiny, tiny percent is able to wage war on the masses, is through divide and conquer, and they finance all factions. So today's topic is Noah's Ark. We went to see Robin and I, my fiance. Again, my name's Wayne Walton. My fiance is Robin Boyce. We're going to be getting married here in some 6 months or so. And went to see Noah's Ark last night, and it's great because it's a metaphor. What we need to do, we men need to stand up and protect our tribes. Just like if you get a chance to see the movie, it has a bigger metaphor for what's going on right now. Is that history repeats. There's nothing new under the sun. So there's all this conflict going on in planet Earth, and the story of Noah is basically God was so upset that he wanted to have a flood, sanitize the planet, and then start over with the animals that were saved on the ark. Well, it's a metaphor for the believers who see. Believers are genuine believers, not just people that go to church. And even those that don't go to church are able to see the evil that is being waged on humanity right now, how all of our institutions have been usurped, and the planet is being destroyed. All creation is being destroyed because our debts are growing exponentially. In the meantime, we're unable to pay those debts up. We're giving our last pound of flesh. We're devoting all our human and natural resources in order to pay this unpayable debt. Well, that's why the Jubilee debt forgiveness is law. This was law of Moses. And so usury is the cause, the money monopoly and exponentially growing debt and usurpation. Usury and mammon is the root cause. That's why Jesus whipped them. And then the solution is Jubilee. So it's cause and then the solution. And what the establishment does to stay in power all the time is it always gives us false solutions. So Noah describes this paradigm where everything is a mess. Man is running wild. It's kind of like Sodom and Gomorrah, and people just living decadently, and man basically playing God and forgetting these natural laws. And I always like this describe, like, you know how things grow in the summertime, and then there's fall and then winter. So you have this great growth period, and then during the winter time it sanitizes everything, and then there's a rebirth. So Jubilee is natural as seasons here. I'm going to bring up one of my first little memes that I made. Not sure what you're seeing, but I'm hopeful that you see this one. Okay. So, you know, you go through your different seasons, and spring is the rebirth, and we're getting ready to launch. And this is the inaugural show. It's March the 30th. I'm kicking off a spring offensive as of April the 1st, and I'm confident that humanity can win its emancipation, and I'm going to go all out for these the spring months, say from April through July, basically. And so this is, let me get that right, April, May, June. Yeah, there we go. It's 3 months. Going to go all out, and we need to implement this Jubilee for a rebirth of humanity. The Jubilee has 4 different aspects to it, so let me get into that. 1 is the forgiveness of debts. 2, the return of stolen land that Mammon has stolen through the forced fraud and monopoly of usury. Number 3 is the release of nonviolent prisoners from jail, because Mammon has paid their minions in government to make everything a crime, so that there's legions of human beings languishing in jail because of non-crimes. And then finally, rest and restoration of the land. We need to clean up our beautiful Mother Earth, and you know, God gave us creation. We need to fix it. There was in the movie Noah, it was beautiful because they depicted this deep connection that Noah had to creation and taught his children this deep connection to the earth and how you should honor it and how it's the source of all life. And you know, even a little more, he was a vegetarian, and how they honored animals and that they had souls. And you know, we're vegetarians, but you know, up until a couple of years ago. So I'm agnostic too, so I can talk. You know, we're not judging anybody. Don't turn away because, you know, you eat food or meat. We're just you know, it's moving along the process, and it's a more healthful diet. Definitely feel the physical benefits of having an all plant diet. My knees are so much better. They're really kind of tore up. I used to run quite a bit and still do. And my knees would get really sore, where I'd have tendonitis, and it's kind of gone away. So anyway, these concepts were all explored in Noah's Ark. I can't think of his name. Crowe, Russell Crowe, was the protagonist. This is Noah, and he did a great job. And so it brings this, you know, there's decadence going on, everything's a mess, and what we need to do is, get the animals on board because they are innocent, but there's also lots of human beings who are innocent as well. And we live here up in Summit County, and we're up here at Summit County. We're at 10,000 feet, and we've got our own local currency here, which is usury free, and we give it away. It's just barter script, and that's called Mountain Hours, and it's good at roughly about 100 businesses here in the county. And if Jesus had a currency, how would people get Jesus' currency? Well, they would get it for free. They would issue it themselves without monopoly, without a fee. And that's what this is. It's very similar to a gift certificate. A restaurant owner can issue a gift certificate simply with their signature and a piece of paper. They can issue that IOU. In order for that IOU to be honest, there needs to be no force, no fraud, and no monopoly. So the contract is valid. I issue that currency for, I do video marketing. I could do, say an hour's worth of video editing for a business and create them a marketing video. And I issue that, and that circulates. All the businesses that agree to participate, they can also issue currency. So it's completely anti-monopoly, and it's local. And the more local independence that we build, the more we're able to sustain ourselves in the event of an economic storm. If you turn on TV, you're seeing all sorts of threats of World War III in Russia, and a dollar collapse, and chaos, and all of this sort of stuff. Well, if we follow the law, we never have to be afraid of anything. If we take action and be powerful agents for truth, I call them Jah warriors in my vernacular. Well, we men should be standing up right now as Christians, offering hope to our tribes. We should not be living in fear. And for a period of time, when I woke up, we bought a 40-acre survival property and lived off grid as survivalists. And I built the thing it was completely raw land when we bought it. We strategically relocated from Florida, Tampa Bay area. I used to be a pool contractor there, and now we promote these local currencies full time. Well, as a pool contractor, I wanted to get this raw land and make it self-sufficient, and make sure that we could live off grid and everything. Pardon me, I'm gonna bring up a what do you call it? A picture from that time, and here we go. I'm learning to use this software, so I appreciate you being patient. And it's really pretty slick software because I can share my screen, and so this is what we built off there. It's basically the shed was delivered, and I finished the inside of it, put electric in it, put the solar panels on, and we are deep into fear. And as Christians, I thought that was my arc then, is to have this survivalist property. But the problem is, this type of arc, where we go hiding off grid, we're not being courageous Christians, and I'm not obeying the law necessarily there, because if I'm still using Mammon's money, I'm still supporting Mammon. And the better way to go is to start a community currency. That's a better metaphor, because the community currency helps to save an entire tribe, not just me and my Robin and my immediate family. And that would only be short-lived anyway, because once you come out of this bunker, the bad guys are still there, and at no time are you really thriving. So rather than being in survival mode, that's not what we are to do as Christians. As Christians, we should be powerful. We should be leading, inspiring people with a hope for thriving. And that was the idea of Noah's, that you get everybody on the ark, there's this conflagration, and then you reestablish humanity on the law, on the land, and have this. Then you thrive, and that's what we're doing with the currency. Is you can thrive with this currency and literally have massive abundance. I want to show you another image called the Kingdom of Breckenridge. Where we live in Breckenridge was a kingdom actually up until 1938. It was left off the maps, and it was like a sovereign kingdom. And in that, they still celebrate this today in Breckenridge called Kingdom Days. So we're trying to bring this idea up. It's kind of like the kingdom of heaven. And it's beautiful here, just like Noah was living up at altitude. We're living at altitude. And it really clears the brain because you're in and around nature. And the more that you're around nature, the more you're able to really focus on what's natural and normal. And that's what we do here, And in addition to that, we use the religious spiritual sacrament used by Rastafarians of cannabis or marijuana. And they use that to anoint yourself. In Isaiah 61, when Jesus proclaimed Jubilee, anointing oil is used in order to heal the mind, body, and soul. And as Bob Marley says, alcohol is the destruction of a nation, herb is the healing. And it definitely helps me. My parents just recently died, and when I go run up the trail here, there's the turnaround spot, and I stop and I pray there, and I always speak to my parents and thank them for giving me the work ethic and stability. My parents were together for 61 years, and stability that I today am able to focus. I don't have any children, but I want to. I actually just had my vasectomy reversed because I was a mess, man. So anyway, I had my vasectomy reversed a few months back, and now I want to have a child and have a child that follows the law and is an inspiration to others, and brings this new kingdom of heaven to humanity. And that's what we can do with the currency. And getting to the image is the Kingdom of Breckenridge here. Bear with me as I bring that up. Learning how to navigate this. Okay, that's the Kingdom of Breckenridge. And humanity has been brought to a condition where Mammon, because it controls the money, is able to get us, they're able to script our future and our past. It's kind of like from Orwell. He who controls the past controls the future. Well, whoever controls the money has full spectrum dominance over the minds of the people, because whoever Mammon, by virtue of controlling the money, is able to control our educational systems, control the churches, control the media, entertainment, etc., etc. And they're programming us. If you look toward the bottom of the image, it says Babylon. They want us to focus on the future that serves them, which is a zombie apocalypse, World War III, self-limitation, individually and collectively, materialism. But in reality, this is a spiritual battle, and in the spiritual realm, we benevolent truth seekers, that's where we have overwhelming superiority, because we have the qualities of hope, justice, truth, all of the highest qualities, sharing, cooperation. And in the usury Mammon realm, which is materialism and war and division, all of the worst human qualities, that's where Mammon has the advantage. So rather than focusing on how bad the money lenders are and all the evil things they do and how the government's doing these things and then the police do this stuff and Monsanto or whatever your particular cause is, rather than focusing on all of these symptoms of usury usurpation, undermining the will of the majority. Rather than focusing on that, in order to achieve victory, what we have to do, number one, is we need a very powerful vision of what we want our future to look like. And I wrote a short story called The Kingdom Dream, and that inspired a guy named Brett Jones on Facebook, that's Art to Uplift, and he drew this painting, and it was just beautiful and inspirational. And what we want for our communities is to be able to be self-sufficient. So we live at 10,000 feet, so we're not food independent right now, but we will be when we build our own aquaponics community garden where we grow our own organic food. We then deliver that raw green smoothies to people's houses. We can have a maglev train. And by the way, we're doing all of this stuff without taxes. And this is hard for people to believe because, we can birth brand new money the exact same way that a restaurant owner issues a gift certificate. So we birth brand new money, and what we want to do is create a community. The local currency that I'm describing there is mountain hours. There's the balloon up there in the top left. I think you can maybe see the arrow. In the center, it's mile high hours, which is down in Denver. So that's the front range, that's called. So for now, we have to trade what we have in abundance, which is recreation, for what they have in abundance, which is, they have food and industry and that sort of thing. So we have to trade to get some of their things. So you can see it right down there. It's Brett Jones. It's a little family having a picnic, and it's kind of hard to see, but the houses have solar panels on it because they're in independence is the goal. There's a Tesla free energy tower where if we can make free energy within our county, we no longer have to fight these wars in the Middle East. Nor should we do it irrespective of that. We shouldn't be coveting anyone's natural resources and then stealing them from them. That's the only reason why these wars are going on. So I'm hopeful that we're bringing a different Christian message to people of hope. And by us having these images of hope in our mind, and then it comes down to manifesting these dreams. Well, that's our hope for thriving into the future. Our county becomes an ark in and of itself. The local currency is a form of the ark, so we're able to finance our dreams, and no longer is scarce money a factor in us deciding what we want for a future. So that's what the today's episode is all about. I'm going to keep these kind of quick and to the point. So let me bring myself back up here. There I am. Haha. Again, check out the shirt. JesusHatesUsury.com is a link that will take you to some more of my training and talking about the currency and the usury-free jubilee. So, here we are. We're in the kingdom of Breckenridge. It exists in our minds in one way. Nature lives in perfect harmony with itself. It's man that because man has been corrupted with the money system. That not that we all don't have sin. It's just, and after the usury-free jubilee, there still will be sin. However, there won't be the institutionalized financing of sin. Right now, because the money power controls the monetary system, or mammon, it's able to finance all of these evil things and use money as a malevolent tool, a technology. Money's just a technology to transfer energy that could be used for good or evil. Right now, it's being used for evil because money is being used for force, fraud, and monopoly, and it's a very destructive thing in our lives. We have scarcity when there's abundance everywhere. So this is how we fix that. So please, if you're on Facebook, give us a like, and so that you can follow us at it's Usury Free Jubilee. There's supposed to be a way I can bring up information on here. I'm not sure if you'll see it. So, anyways, Usury Free Jubilee Love Revolution on Facebook, or Jesus Hates Usury. Usury is a thing. It's not an individual. So Jesus can hate it. He doesn't hate human beings. God doesn't make any mistakes, but man, there's some of them. There's some of those human beings that need to be set right. But the Jubilee is beautiful because we forgive their sins. They forgive our debts. We get the land back. We're no longer renters. And in my community, there's something called Vail Resorts, which owns just a massive portion of the land here. And they don't live here. They're just subsidiaries of this overall globalist money power empire. So thanks for checking out our first episode. We're going to do one of these one a week, and thanks for checking out. I'll post this. So the ideal way so that you can get the link to see the next show is go to Jesus Hates Usury, and you can sign up there and get on our email list, and then from there you'll get notifications for when we have our next sermon. Sunday sermons. Signing out from the Kingdom of Breckenridge. Thank you. I am once again Wade and Walton, and please start a currency right where you live to build an ark for your tribe so they can survive the coming economic storm.